The giant space station floated in the darkness above Nexus Prime. Its metal walls stretched for miles in every direction. Inside the main hall, 12 different alien species sat around a massive circular table. Each group looked different from the others. Some had blue skin, others had scales, and a few had multiple arms, but they all shared the same expression on their faces. They looked down on the humans sitting across from them. Ambassador Dong-Ho Kim sat straight in his chair. His dark suit was perfectly clean and pressed. Next to him, Captain Nari Park wore her military uniform with pride. Engineer Woo Jin Lee sat quietly, watching everything with careful eyes. Dr. So Young Choi took notes on her tablet, writing down every word the alien said. The leader of the Velkari species stood up. He was tall and thin with blue skin that seemed to glow. His voice was smooth but cold when he spoke. "We welcome the human species to this great meeting. We have decided to offer you a place in our Galactic Trade Council." The other aliens nodded their heads. They seemed pleased with themselves, like they were giving candy to children. "Of course," the Velkari continued, "you must understand your position. Humans are new to space travel. You have only been flying between stars for 50 years. We have been doing this for thousands of years." A creature with 6 arms and gray skin spoke next. This was the Thorian delegate. "Your ships are simple. Your technology is basic. Your people know very little about real space commerce. We must guide you carefully." Ambassador Kim listened without changing his expression. His hands stayed folded on the table. He did not interrupt or argue. The Nexari trade minister joined the conversation. She had scales that changed color when she moved. "We have prepared special terms for humanity. You may control 3 star systems." "Only 3. This is very generous for such a young species." "3 systems?" Dr. Choi asked quietly. "Yes, 3 is plenty for beginners," the Nexari replied. "You may not build military ships larger than patrol boats. We cannot allow primitive species to threaten galactic peace with weapons they do not understand." Engineer Lee wrote something on his tablet. His face showed no emotion, but his fingers moved quickly across the screen. The Velkari leader smiled, showing teeth that looked like crystals. "Most importantly, you will pay 40% of all trade profits to the Council. This money helps us maintain order in the galaxy. It pays for our wisdom and protection." 40%? Captain Park asked. Her voice was calm, but her knuckles were white where she gripped her chair. "This is the standard fee for junior members," another alien explained. This one looked like a giant insect with gold wings. "Senior members like us have earned the right to smaller fees through centuries of service." The Thorian delegate nodded agreement. "Humans lack the sophistication for true galactic commerce. You make simple things. Raw materials, basic manufactured goods. Nothing complex or valuable. The fee reflects your limited contribution." Dr. Choi stopped writing for a moment. She looked up at the aliens with interest, like she was studying unusual animals at a zoo. "Your recent discovery of faster-than-light travel shows promise," the Velkari admitted. "But your methods are crude. Your engines are loud and inefficient. Your ships are slow compared to ours." "With proper guidance," the insect-like alien added, "perhaps in a few hundred years, humans might advance to intermediate member status. If you learn quickly and follow our instructions." The Nexari minister's scales turned a bright yellow. "We have observed your industrial capacity. It is quaint but limited. Your factories produce decent quantities of simple goods, but nothing that requires real skill or knowledge." Ambassador Kim finally spoke. His voice was steady and polite. "These terms are quite detailed. You have obviously put much thought into this offer." "Indeed we have," the Velkari said proudly. "We spent considerable time discussing how to integrate such a primitive species into our advanced civilization. This framework will serve humanity well." The Thorian delegate leaned forward. "Some council members suggested that humans might be better suited for manual labor in our mining operations. You seem to have strong backs and simple minds, perfect for digging and lifting, but we decided to be generous and offer you real membership instead." Several aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. The noise echoed off the metal walls of the Great Hall. "How generous indeed," Ambassador Kim said. His tone never changed. Captain Park shifted in her seat. Her jaw was tight, but she stayed silent. "There is one more thing," the Nexari minister added. "Human colonies outside your assigned 3 systems must be abandoned. We cannot have unauthorized settlements disrupting established trade routes. Do not worry. We will help relocate your people to appropriate areas." "Appropriate areas?" Dr. Choi asked. Places where they can do the most good, the Thorian explained. Agricultural worlds, mining planets, simple manufacturing centers. Nothing too complex for human capabilities. Engineer Lee looked up from his tablet. How long do we have to consider these terms? Why would you need time? The Velkari leader seemed surprised. This is an excellent opportunity for your species. Most civilizations would accept immediately. We have been very generous, the insect-like alien agreed. Other junior species received much harsher terms when they joined. You should feel honored by our kindness. Ambassador Kim nodded slowly. We appreciate the Council's attention to detail. However, I believe my people would benefit from discussing these terms carefully. May we have 24 hours to review everything? The aliens looked at each other. Some seemed annoyed by the delay. I suppose that is reasonable, the Velkari leader finally said. Primitive species often need extra time to understand complex agreements. We will meet again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you, Ambassador Kim said. He stood up from his chair. We will give your generous offer the consideration it deserves. The 4 humans gathered their tablets and papers. They walked out of the great hall with calm, measured steps. Behind them, the aliens talked among themselves in their various languages. Their voices were full of confidence and amusement. They will accept, of course, one alien said to another. Where else can they go? Another replied. We are the only civilization that matters in this part of the galaxy. Humans are lucky we even notice them, a third added. Most species have to beg for years just to get a meeting with the Council. The great doors closed behind the human delegation. The aliens continued their conversations, already planning how to divide up human resources and labor. None of them noticed the small smile that had appeared on Ambassador Kim's face just before he left the room. Outside in the corridor, the 4 humans walked toward their ship in silence. They had work to do, and less than 24 hours to do it. But first, they needed privacy. They needed to discuss things the aliens should never hear. The next morning came too quickly for the aliens and not quickly enough for the humans. Ambassador Kim and his team returned to the Great Hall exactly on time. The 12 alien species were already seated and waiting. They looked confident and relaxed, like merchants who knew they had the only food in a starving town. The Velkari leader stood up again. His blue skin seemed brighter today, as if he was excited about finishing the deal. Have you had enough time to understand our generous offer? He asked. We have discussed it thoroughly, Ambassador Kim replied. He sat down in the same chair as yesterday. His team took their positions beside him. Excellent, the Thorian delegate said. His 6 arms moved in what might have been a gesture of happiness. I trust you realize how fortunate humanity is to receive such favorable terms. Dr. Choi opened her tablet and began taking notes again. She wrote down everything the aliens said, even the small comments they made to each other. We do have some questions, Ambassador Kim said politely. The Nexari minister's scales shifted to orange. Questions? What kind of questions could you possibly have? The terms are quite simple. We would like to understand the enforcement mechanisms, Captain Park said. How do you ensure that species follow the Council's rules? The insect-like alien buzzed its wings. We have a fleet, naturally. The Council maintains peace through strength. Disobedient species are brought into line quickly. How large is this fleet? Engineer Lee asked. Several aliens laughed at the question. The sound echoed around the room like breaking glass. Large enough to handle any problems, the Velkari leader said. No junior species has ever successfully challenged Council authority. None ever will. Your human ships are primitive, another alien added. This one looked like a walking tree with silver bark. Your weapons are crude. Your defenses are basic. Even if you wanted to fight, which would be foolish, you could not win. Ambassador Kim nodded thoughtfully. I see. And what happens to species that simply leave Council space? Leave? The Thorian delegate seemed confused. Where would they go? We control all the valuable star systems in this region. Outside our territory, there is nothing but empty space and worthless rocks. Besides, the Nexari minister added, no species has ever been stupid enough to walk away from Council membership. The benefits are too great. The protection is too valuable. Dr. Choi looked up from her tablet. What kind of benefits do senior members receive? The Velkari leader's crystal teeth gleamed. Senior members pay only 5% in Council fees. They have unlimited territory rights. They can build whatever ships they choose. Most importantly, they receive a share of junior member fees. So you profit from the 40% we would pay? Captain Park asked. Of course, the tree-like alien said. Senior members have earned these rewards through loyal service. Someday, if humans prove themselves worthy, you might advance to intermediate status, perhaps in 300 or 400 years. If you work very hard and follow our guidance carefully, the insect alien added. Engineer Lee typed something on his tablet. His fingers moved fast across the screen, like he was doing complex calculations. The Thorian delegate leaned back in his chair. We should mention that several council members wanted to offer humanity a different arrangement entirely. They suggested that your species might be better suited for specialized labor roles. What kind of specialized labor? Dr. Choi asked. Mining, mostly, the Nexari minister explained. Humans seem physically capable of working in difficult environments. Your tolerance for radiation and extreme temperatures is impressive for such a primitive species. Some of our mining operations are quite dangerous, another alien added. The work is hard and many species cannot survive it. But humans appear sturdy enough. However, the Velkari leader continued, we decided that full junior membership would be more appropriate. We are not cruel overlords. We believe in giving every species a chance to contribute according to their abilities. Ambassador Kim's expression never changed. How thoughtful of you. Indeed, the tree alien said. We could have simply conquered your territory and enslaved your people. Many council species suggested exactly that, but we prefer diplomatic solutions. Your 3 systems produce adequate raw materials, the Thorian delegate noted. Iron, copper, rare earth elements. Nothing exotic or valuable, but useful for basic manufacturing. Combined with human labor, these resources will serve the galaxy well. Dr. Choi stopped writing again. She looked at the aliens with the same interested expression as yesterday. Of course, the insect alien said. Humans will need to abandon some of your current practices. Your industrial methods are wasteful. Your resource extraction is inefficient. We will provide proper guidance to improve your productivity. We have experts who specialize in optimizing primitive civilizations, the Nexari minister added. They will arrive shortly after you sign the agreement. Within a few years, human output should increase by at least 30%. Experts? Captain Park asked. Technical advisors, economic planners, resource managers, the Velkari leader explained. Senior species who understand how to make the most of limited capabilities. They will live on your worlds and supervise your operations. For how long? Engineer Lee asked. Until humans no longer need guidance, the Thorian delegate replied. Perhaps 50 years. Perhaps longer. It depends on how quickly you learn. The room fell quiet for a moment. The aliens looked at each other with satisfied expressions. They seemed pleased with how well the negotiations were going. Then the Nexari minister made a mistake. Her scales turned bright red as she spoke. Humans should feel grateful that we noticed you at all. Most species in your position would be conquered or ignored. Instead, we offer you a place in galactic civilization. Your children will thank you for accepting this opportunity. Our children? Dr. Choi asked quietly. Of course, the tree alien said. Under council guidance, human population growth will be managed properly. Too many people waste resources. Too few people reduce productivity. We will help you find the right balance. Ambassador Kim finally spoke. I believe we have heard enough for today. May I request another recess to discuss these additional details? The Velkari leader looked annoyed. More time? We have been very patient with your primitive decision-making process. How much discussion do you possibly need? Just until tomorrow morning, Ambassador Kim replied. I want to be absolutely certain we understand every aspect of this arrangement. Very well, the Thorian delegate said. His 6 arms showed clear irritation. But this is the final delay. Tomorrow you will sign the agreement. The council has been generous enough. Understood, Ambassador Kim said. He stood up from his chair. We will return tomorrow with our decision. The 4 humans gathered their materials and walked toward the door. Behind them, the aliens began talking, among themselves again. Humans are even more primitive than we thought. One alien said. At least they seem willing to cooperate. Another replied. They have no choice, a third added. Where else would they go? The great doors closed behind the human delegation. This time, Ambassador Kim was not smiling. His face showed nothing at all. But his eyes were very cold. Captain Park walked beside him down the long corridor. Tomorrow? She asked quietly. Tomorrow, Ambassador Kim replied. Tonight we have important calls to make. The doors to the Soul's Pride sealed shut with a soft hiss. Inside the human ship, everything looked different from the alien station. The walls were clean white metal. The lights were warm and bright. The air smelled like home. Ambassador Kim walked to the center of the main room. His 3 companions followed him. Once they were all inside, Captain Park pressed several buttons on a wall panel. Red lights appeared around the doorways. "Privacy screens are active," she announced. "No signals can get in or out. We can speak freely now." Ambassador Kim loosened his tie for the first time in 2 days. The change in his posture was immediate and dramatic. The polite diplomat disappeared. In his place stood a military commander with steel in his eyes. "Well," he said, "that was educational." Dr. Choi closed her tablet with a sharp click. "Educational is one word for it. Insulting is another. They really believe we are primitive children who should be grateful for their scraps." "Did you see their technology?" Engineer Lee asked. "I mean, really look at it? Their computers are running on systems we stopped using 70 years ago. Their power grid has efficiency ratings that would embarrass a first-year engineering student." Captain Park walked to a large screen on the wall. She touched it several times. Images began appearing. Star charts, ship designs, military reports. "Should we tell them the truth now?" she asked with a smile. "All of it," Ambassador Kim replied. "It is time." The screen changed to show a timeline. At the top it read, "Human Galactic Observation Project, Classified." The timeline started 230 years ago. "Ladies and gentlemen," Ambassador Kim said formally, "let me remind you what we really know about our new alien friends." Dr. Choi opened a different tablet, one she had kept hidden during the meetings. The Galactic Trade Council consists of 12 species. Total population, approximately 40 billion individuals across 300 star systems. Their technology peaked about 800 years ago, Engineer Lee added. Since then, they have made almost no improvements to anything. Their ships, their weapons, their computers, all of it is ancient by our standards. Captain Park touched the screen again. New images appeared showing alien ships in detail. These are their most advanced warships. Notice the hull design. It has not changed in 6 centuries. The weapons are particle beam arrays that we would classify as antiques. More importantly, Ambassador Kim said, look at their industrial capacity. The screen showed charts and graphs. Total manufacturing output for all 12 species combined is less than what humanity produces in our 3 largest systems. Dr. Choi laughed, but there was no humor in the sound. They talked about managing our population growth. Do you know what their birth rates are? The Velkari have not had a child born in over 50 years. The Thorians are down to less than 1 million individuals total. Most council species are dying out slowly. Then how do they maintain control? Captain Park asked, though she already knew the answer. They do not, Engineer Lee replied. They control nothing. They survive by convincing younger species to support them. They take resources and labor from new members while giving nothing useful in return. Ambassador Kim nodded grimly. The Council is not a government. It is a protection racket run by desperate, failing civilizations. The screen changed again. This time it showed human ships. Real human ships, not the old diplomatic vessel they had brought to the meeting. The designs were sleek and powerful. The technology was clearly centuries ahead of anything the aliens possessed. Our actual fleet, Captain Park said proudly. 2,000 ships of the line. Each one could destroy their entire council fleet single-handed. And our colonies? Dr. Choi asked. 800 systems and growing, Ambassador Kim replied. We have been expanding quietly for decades. Every time we meet a new species, we evaluate whether they are worth contact. Most or not. Engineer Lee brought up manufacturing reports. Our current industrial output is approximately 40 times larger than the entire Galactic Trade Council combined. We produce more advanced technology in a single day than they have created in the past century. But they do not know any of this, Captain Park observed. Correct, Ambassador Kim said. The Soul's Pride is 70 years old. It was designed specifically to look primitive to outside observers. Everything about our presence here has been carefully calculated to seem weak and desperate. Dr. Choi pulled up her real notes, not the ones she had shown the aliens. I have been studying them for 3 days now. Their psychology is fascinating. They genuinely believe they are superior, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Evidence? Engineer Lee asked. The math is simple, she replied. 12 species controlling 300 systems should have a combined population of at least 500 billion. Instead, they have 40 billion. Their worlds are mostly empty. Their cities are falling apart. Their technology has not improved in centuries. They are parasites, Captain Park said bluntly. They survive by tricking other species into supporting them. Ambassador Kim walked to another panel. He pressed his hand against a scanner. The machine beeped once and new information appeared on the screen. Intelligence reports from our deep reconnaissance missions, he announced. Over the past 50 years, 6 species have joined the Council as junior members. Want to guess what happened to them? The screen showed images of empty worlds and abandoned cities. Extinction, Dr. Choi said quietly. All 6 species are gone. The Council worked them to death, Engineer Lee observed. Literally. They extracted every resource, used up all the labor, and discarded the remains. And now they want to do the same to us, Captain Park added. Ambassador Kim turned away from the screen. His face was cold and hard. They made several mistakes in their negotiations. First, they assumed we were desperate for their approval. Second, they believed their own propaganda about being superior. Third, they showed us exactly who they really are. What do we do now? Dr. Choi asked. We have 3 options, Ambassador Kim replied. We can accept their terms and pretend to be primitive while slowly taking over their territory. We can reject their offer and return home, leaving them to collapse on their own. Or we can reveal the truth and watch them panic. Engineer Lee smiled for the first time in days. I vote for option 3. It would be educational, Captain Park agreed. They deserve to understand exactly how badly they have miscalculated. Dr. Choi nodded. From a scientific perspective, observing their reaction to the truth would be invaluable data. Ambassador Kim looked at each of his companions. Are we all in agreement? Once we do this, there will be no going back. The Council will know what humanity really is. Good, Captain Park said firmly. Let them know. Tomorrow morning, Ambassador Kim decided. We will give them our answer. But first I need to send a message home. He walked to the communication console and began typing. The message was short and simple. Operation Revelation is approved. Begin Phase 2 immediately. Signed, Ambassador Kim. Within minutes, confirmation came back from Earth, then from New Tokyo, then from Seoul Station, then from a dozen other human worlds the aliens had never heard of. The message was the same from every location. Phase 2 initiated. All human assets in Council space are standing by. Ambassador Kim looked at his team one more time. Tomorrow, the Galactic Trade Council will learn what happens when you mistake kindness for weakness. I think they are going to be very surprised. Outside the ship, the alien station continued its slow orbit around Nexus Prime. Inside their meeting halls, 12 species planned how to divide up human resources. None of them realized that in less than 24 hours, their entire civilization would change forever. The Soul's Pride sat quietly at its docking bay, looking old and primitive and harmless. It was the perfect disguise for what was about to happen next. Ambassador Kim walked into the Great Hall for the last time. His steps were steady and confident. Captain Park, Engineer Lee, and Dr. Choi followed behind him. All 4 humans looked calm and professional. The 12 alien species were waiting at their circular table. They seemed excited today, like children about to receive presents. Several of them were already planning how to spend their share of human resources. The Velkari leader stood up as the humans approached. His blue skin was practically glowing with satisfaction. Welcome back, Ambassador Kim. We trust you have reached the correct decision. We have indeed reached a decision, Ambassador Kim replied. He sat down in his chair and placed a single folder on the table in front of him. Thank you for your patience during our deliberations. The Thorian delegate rubbed his 6 hands together. Excellent. The Council has prepared the membership documents. You may sign them now, and humanity can begin its new life as a member of our great civilization. Dr. Choi opened her tablet and began typing. Captain Park and Engineer Lee sat quietly, watching the aliens with interest. Before we discuss signatures, Ambassador Kim said politely, I wanted to express our gratitude for this opportunity to learn about the Galactic Trade Council. Learn? The Nexari minister looked confused. Her scales shifted to yellow. Yes, Ambassador Kim continued. The past 3 days have been very educational. We have learned exactly what the Council thinks of humanity. We have learned about your expectations and your methods. Most importantly, we have learned about your true situation. The insect-like alien buzzed its wings nervously. Our situation? We are the most powerful civilization in this region of space. What do you mean? Ambassador Kim opened his folder. Inside were several sheets of paper covered with numbers and charts. We mean your economic reports, your population statistics, your industrial capacity measurements, your military strength assessments. The room became very quiet. The aliens looked at each other with growing concern. Where did you get those documents? The tree-like alien demanded. That information is classified council data. We have been observing the council for over 2 centuries, Ambassador Kim replied calmly. We know everything about your 12 species, your declining birth rates, your failing infrastructure, your complete dependence on junior member resources. The Valkyrie leader's crystal teeth stopped gleaming. That is impossible. Humans only achieved space travel 50 years ago. Captain Park spoke for the first time that morning. The Soul's Pride is 70 years old, Ambassador. It was designed to look primitive. We wanted to see how you would treat species you considered inferior. This is ridiculous, the Thorian delegate sputtered. You are trying to bluff your way out of accepting our generous terms. Engineer Lee looked up from his tablet. Your most advanced computer systems are running on quantum processors that we stopped using 80 years ago. Your power generation efficiency is 12%. Our worst systems achieve 37% efficiency. Dr. Choi smiled sweetly at the aliens. Also, your total population is declining by approximately 2 million individuals per year. At current rates, 3 of your species will be extinct within 50 years. The Nexari minister's scales turned bright red. You cannot possibly know these things. Our security is absolute. Your security systems were designed 400 years ago, Ambassador Kim replied. We have been reading your communications since before your grandparents were born. The Great Hall erupted in angry voices. Aliens shouted at each other in multiple languages. Some accused the humans of lying. Others demanded to know how their secrets had been discovered. Ambassador Kim waited patiently for the noise to die down. When the room was quiet again, he continued speaking. We came here to evaluate whether the Galactic Trade Council would be a suitable partner for humanity. The answer is no. Partner? The Valkyrie leader's voice was high and strained. You are a junior species. You need our protection and guidance. We do not. Captain Park said simply. We never did. We never will. Ambassador Kim stood up from his chair. Humanity hereby declines membership in the Galactic Trade Council. We thank you for clarifying your expectations and methods. The aliens stared at the humans in shock. For several seconds, no one spoke. Then the Thorian delegate exploded in rage. You cannot decline. You need us. Where will you get technology? Where will you find trade partners? How will you defend yourselves? We will manage, Dr. Choi replied. Somehow. The insect-like alien buzzed loudly. This is unacceptable. You cannot simply walk away from the Council's authority. We control this entire region of space. No, Engineer Lee said quietly. You control 12 failing civilizations on 300 mostly empty worlds. That is not the same thing. Ambassador Kim picked up his folder and closed it. Additionally, all existing trade agreements between human colonies and Council species are hereby terminated, effective immediately. What? The Nexari minister's scales went completely white. You cannot terminate existing agreements. We have contracts. We have legal obligations. You offered us junior membership with the right to control 3 systems, Captain Park replied. Since we are declining membership, we obviously cannot honor agreements made under that framework. But we need those resources, the tree-like alien said desperately. Our manufacturing depends on human raw materials. Our medical supplies come from human colonies. Dr. Choi looked up from her tablet with apparent surprise. Did you not say that human production was primitive and limited? Surely advanced species like yourselves can easily replace anything we provided. The Valkyrie leader was now a very pale shade of blue. How many systems do you actually control? He asked quietly. Currently, we have colonies in 812 star systems, Ambassador Kim replied. But who is counting? The sound that came from the aliens was like air being sucked out of the room. Several of them made choking noises. 800 systems, the Thorian delegate whispered. And growing, Engineer Lee added helpfully. We establish new colonies every few months. Ambassador Kim looked around the table at each alien species. The Council assumed that humanity needed you. This was incorrect. Our offer to join your organization was courtesy, not desperation. We have reevaluated the mutual benefit of such arrangements. Captain Park stood up. When the Council is prepared to negotiate as equals rather than masters, humanity will consider renewed contact. Until then, we wish you success in managing your own affairs. Dr. Choi closed her tablet with a sharp click. It has been educational meeting you all. Engineer Lee gathered his papers and stood up. Good luck with your declining populations and failing technology. The four humans walked toward the great doors. Behind them, the aliens sat in stunned silence. Just before reaching the exit, Ambassador Kim turned back to face the council table. Oh, and one more thing. You might want to avoid sending your fleet to human space. Our colonial defense forces have standing orders to protect our territories from hostile aliens. We would hate for there to be any unfortunate misunderstandings. The great doors closed behind the humans with a final, echoing clang. For a long time, the aliens just sat there, staring at the empty chairs where the humans had been. Then slowly they began to realize what had just happened. The species they had dismissed as primitive controlled more territory than the entire council. The technology they had mocked was centuries ahead of their own. The resources they had planned to steal were about to disappear completely, and worst of all, humanity had been politely humoring them the entire time. Outside the station, the Soul's Pride prepared for departure. All across council space, human ships began leaving ports and human facilities began shutting down. The exodus was swift, organized, and absolute. The age of human patience with the Galactic Trade Council had come to an end. 7 days after the humans left, the Galactic Trade Council faced a reality that none of them had imagined possible. The great meeting hall was filled with panicking aliens who shouted at each other in a dozen different languages. Emergency reports arrived every few minutes, each one worse than the last. The Velkari leader stood at the center of the chaos. His blue skin had turned almost gray with stress. In his hands, he held a datapad showing economic reports from across council space. Every number was red. Every trend was pointing down. Quiet, he shouted. Everyone be quiet so we can think. The noise died down slowly. 12 species looked at their leader with desperate eyes. They had been the rulers of this part of the galaxy for over 1,000 years. Now in less than a week, everything was falling apart. Report from the Thorian systems, the six-armed delegate said. His voice was shaking. All human mining operations have shut down. All human technical advisors have left. All human medical supplies have been recalled. The Nexari minister's scales were flashing between red and white. It is the same everywhere. My people are checking every system, every world, every facility. The humans are gone. All of them. They left nothing behind. Nothing? The insect-like alien asked. What do you mean, nothing? I mean they took everything with them, she replied. The equipment. The computers. The medicine. Even the instruction manuals. It is like they were never there at all. An alien who looked like a walking crystal raised one of his arms. How is this possible? We have contracts. We have legal agreements. They cannot just abandon their obligations. Dr. So-Young Choi's voice seemed to echo in the room, even though she was light years away. Her words from 3 days ago came back to haunt them. Since we are declining membership, we obviously cannot honor agreements made under that framework. The tree-like alien was reviewing reports on his own tablet. The numbers are worse than we thought. Humans controlled 67% of our rare earth element production, 78% of our medical supplies, 85% of our food production enhancement. Food production? The Velkari leader's voice cracked. They were involved in food production? The fertility enhancers for our crops, another alien explained. The soil treatments for our farming worlds. The genetic improvements for our livestock. All of it was human technology. A new voice joined the conversation. It came from the communication system in the ceiling. Emergency report from Sector 7. The human facility on Telos 3 has been completely dismantled. The equipment is gone. The buildings are empty. Even the landing pads have been removed. The Thorian delegate was reading his own reports. They are not just leaving. They are erasing every trace of their presence. It is like they planned this for years. Of course they planned it, the Nexari minister said bitterly. They told us they had been watching us for 2 centuries. We thought they were bluffing. The communication system crackled again. Priority message from the defense fleet. Admiral Vextar requesting immediate assistance. Put him through, the Velkari leader ordered. A new voice filled the room. It sounded tired and frightened. Council leaders, I am reporting a complete military disaster. Our patrol fleet encountered human forces in the Outer Rim territories. We lost 87 ships in less than 10 minutes. The Great Hall went silent. 87 ships was nearly a quarter of the entire Council fleet. Impossible, the crystal alien said weakly. Humans have primitive technology. Their ships are crude and slow. That is what we thought, Admiral Vextar replied. We were wrong. Their ships are unlike anything we have ever seen. Their weapons are beyond our understanding. Our best shields did nothing to stop them. How many human ships were there? The Thorian delegate asked. 3, the Admiral replied. 3 ships destroyed 87 of ours. When we tried to retreat, they let us go. One of their captains sent a message saying that human colonial defense forces were under orders to protect their territories from hostile aliens. The insect-like alien was making buzzing sounds of distress. 3 ships did this? Only 3? The human captain also said something else. Admiral Vextar continued. She said that what we encountered was a patrol group, not a military force. She advised us not to test their actual defenses. The Velkari leader sat down heavily in his chair. How many systems do they really control? Our intelligence estimates were completely wrong, another alien replied. We thought they had maybe 10 colonies. The reports coming in suggest they control most of the Outer Rim, large sections of the Middle Territories, and several core systems we did not even know were inhabited. New reports kept arriving. Each one was worse than the last. Manufacturing. Output down 70% across all Council worlds. Medical. Emergencies on 6 systems. Human medicines cannot be replicated. Food shortages expected within 30 days. Crop. Enhancement programs have failed. Power. Grid failures on 12 worlds. Human. Technical support is gone. Transportation. Systems breaking down. Human. Maintenance protocols are no longer available. Dr. Choi's tablet notes seem to glow in their memories. Your total population is declining by approximately 2 million individuals per year. At current rates, 3 of your species will be extinct within 50 years. She had not been threatening them. She had been stating facts. The Nexari minister was reading casualty reports. Medical facilities are reporting critical shortages. Human treatments for genetic diseases, age-related illnesses, and reproductive problems are no longer available. Some of our species may not survive without these medicines. Can we develop our own treatments? The crystal alien asked desperately. With what? The tree-like alien replied. Our medical research has been stagnant for centuries. We relied on human innovation for everything new. The communication system activated again. Emergency report from Council Military Command. Long-range sensors are detecting massive fleet movements in human space. Estimate over 2,000 ships of unknown design. The Thorian delegate was shaking all 6 of his arms. 2,000 ships? How did we not know about this? Because we never looked, the Velkari leader said quietly. We assumed they were primitive. We assumed they needed us. We assumed they were grateful for our attention. What do we do now? The insect-like alien asked. How do we survive without human support? Nobody had an answer. Another message arrived, this one transmitted across all Council frequencies. It was from Ambassador Kim. The Council assumed that humanity needed you. This was incorrect. Our offer of trade partnership was an act of courtesy, not desperation. We have reevaluated the mutual benefit of such arrangements. When the Council is prepared to negotiate as equals rather than dictate as superiors, humanity will consider renewed contact. Until then, we wish you success managing your own affairs. The message ended with a single image, the symbol of the Human Colonial Alliance. Below it were coordinates for 812 star systems. All of them were marked as human territory. The Great Hall was quiet for a long time. Finally, the Velkari leader spoke. Send a message to human space. Tell them we want to negotiate. Tell them we are willing to discuss equal partnership terms. The communication officer's voice came from the ceiling. Message sent, sir. Response received. Already? The Nexari minister asked. Yes. The response is 3 words. We will wait. The Thorian delegate looked around the room at his fellow council members. Wait for what? For us to collapse completely, the tree-like alien said quietly. They know we cannot survive without them. They know we will eventually beg for their help. The crystal alien was reviewing population reports. How long do we have? Optimistic estimates suggest 6 months before critical system failures, another alien replied. Pessimistic estimates suggest 6 weeks. The Velkari leader stared at the empty chairs where the humans had sat just 7 days ago. Ambassador Kim's words echoed in his memory. We wanted to see how you would treat species you considered inferior. Now they knew. And now humanity knew too. The mighty Galactic Trade Council, rulers of 300 star systems, had discovered they were completely dependent on the primitive species they had tried to exploit. The humans had been supporting their entire civilization out of politeness, and now that politeness had ended. Outside the Great Hall, across council space, lights were going out one by one. Systems were failing. Ships were breaking down. People were getting sick with diseases that human medicine had kept under control for decades. The age of council dominance was over. The age of human patience had ended, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space, humanity was watching and waiting to see what the aliens would do next. They had all the time in the universe. The council did not.